Hello, and welcome to another wee talk about. I broke my microphone beforehand. It was a terrible accident, so we're gonna have to go with this. It's good though. I have it on a stand like this, so I can move it around. And I thought, since we're dealing with a creepy film, not a horror film, but a creepy film, we'll do it by candlelight. See how that goes. Talking about the new M. Night Shyamalan film, A Knock at the Cabin. Viewers of the channel will know how much of an M. Night Shyamalan fan I am. I've watched almost all of his films, apart from a few. Knock at the Cabin, it's an interesting film. There's not like a massive twist at the end per se, but there is some interesting stuff going on. And without spoiling too much, because I really think you should go see it, it's still in cinema at the moment. You have a family, you have two dads and their adopted daughter, Andrew, Eric, and Wen. I knew I'd remember that. And then you have the four Dons that show up at their house. You have Dave Bautista as Leonard. You have Ron Weasley as I'm sure many have seen the trailer. The whole concept is they're told by these four people who break into their house, tie them to chairs, that if they don't choose to sacrifice one person of their family, the whole world's going to end. And now that puts the family in quite a predicament, so it does. And the thing is, the whole film is set inside this cabin, pretty much outside of a couple of wee things. And that doesn't get old at all. Both times I've seen the film now, I have been amazed about how fast the films flew by because I've been so engrossed in it. The actors involved, just the storytelling, the writing, it does such a good job of keeping you, at least keeping me hooked, that I was drawn into it both times I've seen it. Massive spoiler warning. We are going to get into the spoilers because I can't not do that. Every time that they say no to these four people, that they don't want to sacrifice a member of their family, one of the four have to be executed. And every time they do that, they say a line, a part of humanity has been judged and a plague descends upon humanity. I think when Ron Weasley gets killed, tidal waves, tsunamis, earthquakes devastate parts of America. You see it live on TV. Adrienne, or is it Adriana? I think it's just Adrienne. She gets executed, and a very similar to a real world virus gets released. The whole situation's depicted in a way that it could really go either way, because they give plausible reasons why these four people could be lying. And to be fair, there's actually a scene where you can see them start to doubt themselves. So you can understand the family not actually trusting these people. But on top of that, the one that does start to trust them, or thinks he sees God, he at the start of the movie gets knocked out and is concussed, so that you could always chop everything he sees or thinks up to the fact that he's maybe seeing things because he's concussed. They're trying to convince the family that this is actually happening, the end of the world is coming, and the family doesn't believe him. And then Sabrina, the third character, she gets executed, and this is actually quite a creepy scene as well. Like something like 700 planes around the world just nosedive out of the sky. Now the thing is, after Dave Bautista finally gives up the ghost, and they have mere minutes to make the decision before the end of the world is coming, it's at this point where the family basically realises that these four people that have showed up at the house are the four horsemen of the apocalypse. And there's a line where they say that this is maybe something that's been happening throughout time. Throughout time, families have been told they have to make this decision to save the world. And that's where things, I remember when I was watching it the first time, that's where things started to really get interesting with me. Similar to how the Unbreakable trilogy made me think, okay, so there's superhuman people that live in this world, and they've been held, and they've been put undercover for so long, has tried to be kept a secret. Maybe there's so many people throughout history that we just think are extraordinary people. Maybe in this universe there's actually something special about them. They're maybe super in some way. That same sort of thought was coming into my head during Knock at the Cabin, because I was thinking, look, so if families throughout time in this universe have had to make that decision, maybe there's so many, natural disasters and things like that that have happened through time that in this universe could be chopped up to families not making that decision and things happening. We talk about this on this Friday's podcast, the upcoming Knock at the Cabin special. Thomas, Tentacle T, was saying, stuff like Pompeii could be like plagues brought against humanity for not making that decision. So that kind of got my brain going like that, and it's the reason I enjoy the film so much, because I keep thinking about things like that. What I like about it is similar to most of Shyamalan's films, even the ones that aren't generally perceived to be as good. There's still something about them that I appreciate, because good characters, good actors, good music and special effects all pull me into a film and are all great, but nothing pulls me into a film quite like the idea behind it. What's the concept? That's why, although it wasn't the greatest film and a lot of people didn't like it, I really enjoyed Shyamalan's last film, Old, which I still need to do a wee talk about, because the idea that film had of just bringing a whole bunch of people to the beach and they age something like an hour is like a year, that concept was so interesting to me, and I like seeing films for concepts, and Shyamalan's great at that. Most of his films, the concept alone, I'm down to see it, but just the whole idea of the film is great. The soundtrack, great. The cinematography, the way the movie's shot. I don't want to sound like one of these like film connoisseurs. It's like, the shot's perfection and all that type of stuff, but it's shot really nice. It's shot on film, not digital, the same way that Old was. But yeah, it's really good. The soundtrack's really good. The actors involved are really good. And of course, Shyamalan's cameo is amazing. I highly recommend Knock at the Cabin in cinemas now.